Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Books at the Wormbag with a review for Death of the Author by Nadina Okorafor. Getting there. My tongue just doesn't want to do what it's told, I tell you. This is a sci-fi fantasy new release book that I've been waiting for quite some time because it's a story within a story and I'm a sucker for those kind of things. But this book was so much more than that, and I'm just going to say it's amazing and you should read it, and I think more people should be reading this book. This book should be getting more hype than it has been getting, so please, if you see this, go and pick it up. I'm now going to talk spoilers, so if you don't want to know any like plot details or character details or anything, please stop watching this video. You are totally forgiven for not watching the rest of this video if you do not want to be spoiled. So thank you. Right, the rest of you, I'm presuming you're still here because you want to be spoiled. Here we go. This follows Zilu, who is a young woman who has hit rock bottom and she's lost her job, she's not a success as a writer, and she's had it, she's just fed up. And this story comes to her and she focuses on writing this story, and the story is called Rusted Robots, which we get clips of throughout this book, and it's amazing and I want a full-blown novel of it. But the bits we get tell us so much of what's going on within the story itself. So that's amazing in itself. She publishes this book, much to, the derision from her family, who are like, just, it's not a proper job, give it up, blah, 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 blah. She sells her book for a ton of money. It's going to be a bestseller. Her agent says it's the best thing, brilliant. Sells it, gets loads of money coming in for it. It's going to be published. She's like, look, I've done this amazing thing. Then she gets notified it's going to be movie. It's been picked up for a movie. And she's like, that's great. Oh, I don't want anything to do with the movie. I'm about the book. Go ahead, do whatever you want. That's cool. And her family are like, oh, you're a writer. Blah, blah. Anyway, they don't really believe that she's made this big, massive thing until the book is released and it gets all the hype, and then the film is released and that gets all the hype as well. And then she finally gets this acknowledgement from her family. So that tells you a bit about her family background. The interesting thing is, as some people have said that the Rusted Robot story and Zilu's story kind of mesh together, that her real life starts imitating her fictional life. I didn't see it as that. One of the things about Zilu is she is disabled. She's been disabled for most of her life due to an accident when she was a child. She is a wheelchair user. And as the success of her book comes out, she's contacted by this high-tech company who are like, we think you'd be great to be the face of our exosuits. They basically make frames that people can wear that enable them to walk. And they want her to try an exosuit. And she's referred to as becoming a robot warrior, she's a robot woman, she's the robot author. There's all that kind of linkage to what she's doing in her personal life and how it connects to her story that she's written. But Zilu is just herself. She will not make any apologies for who she is. She says what she's thinking. She's honest. She's raw. And she won't back down. And when she gets backlash from taking on these exosuits and using them rather than her wheelchair, she gets backlash because suddenly she's betrayed the disabled writing community. She gets shitted on her social medias and that for it. And she's like, you know what? This is my life, but out of it. I am still me and I will do what I want, how I want. And I love that for her. And I wonder how many disabled people feel that way, that they are constantly defined by their disability, and when they try and break out of it, they're almost trying to be pushed back into that box. I'm only partially sighted, so I do class myself as part of the disabled community, but I'm partially sighted. I use contact lenses most of the time because it's convenient for me. So when I have people coming up and they go, oh, I can't find this book, I was like, it's all right, you got book blind in here. I was like, oh, my eyesight's so bad and all that. And it's like, yeah, I know how you feel. And people look at me because obviously if you just saw this, you wouldn't think I had a vision issue. But actually, I'm incredibly short-sighted. I take my contact lenses out, I can't see anything really in any detail whatsoever. It's very, very blurry out there. I do wear glasses when I get home, but I'm very self-conscious that if I go out with my glasses on, I don't like it, which is really weird because I spent the first 10 years of my life wearing glasses. and they weren't thin. We didn't do thin glasses back in the 80s, so my glasses were thick. So it was obvious that I had a short-sighted problem. And now I feel like I wear contact lenses because it stops all those stares. It stops, well, the uncomfortableness of wearing my glasses, but also it was more convenient because if I forgot my glasses, I couldn't see anything all day. So I have kind of pushed myself into my own little box of, this is my disability and this is how I want to handle it. And Zilu herself moves out of that little box that her family has constantly pushed her in. There's a lot in here about family culture and Nigerian culture, and how that if you're disabled, you're seen as broken or, you know, cursed. And Zilu has to deal with a lot of that, particularly when she goes back home to Nigeria, where her family has come from. And she has to deal with all these really actually unkind, ableist comments. And she just brushes them off because it's like, well, that's how it is here. And her getting these exo legs is almost her way of sitting there going, I'm not letting this hold me back. I'm still me. I still have legs that don't work, but I'm doing my own thing about it. If I want to get about using my chair, I'll use my chair. If I want to get about using the exosuit, I'll use the exosuit. And her stubbornness, but also willingness to sit there and go, I'm not being defined by how others see me. It's not about how she sees herself, it's how others see her. And she refuses to let them define her, which is why when people backlash about her choices, she's like, I don't care. You know, you guys are just faces on the internet. I don't know you. And even to her family, she feels put down and put in that box until she actually gets the courage to stand up and go, hey guys, I've sold my book. Hey guys, it's been made into a film. Hey, I've got these exosuits and I'm going to be walking around the place. Hey, I use an automated vehicle, which means I can get around town on my own without having to plead and beg for someone to take me in their car. Hey guys, I'm going into space. I just love that she's constantly having to advocate for herself because so few people in her circle will do it for her. And she's like standing up and going, this is me. If you don't like it, deal with it because I don't care. She is brash and I love her for it. There is some amazing discussions about being an author in this. So obviously Rusted Robots becomes made into this big blockbuster film. You know, it's Hollywoodized. And her original book is very based in Nigerian mythology and culture. And of course, Hollywood get hold of it and whitewash it. So her characters get Americanized names, the whole Nigerian tribal background that she had written into a book gets written out. And so she goes and sees the film at the premiere, is interviewed afterwards, and there's a big deal about the fact that the journalist gets her name right, which obviously really impresses Zilu. But it's a whole big deal made about it. And then she asks, what do you think of the film? And she's like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And she gets dumped on for that. And it's like, but it's a version of her book. She had nothing to do with it. She made it very clear to the fans, I have nothing to do with this film. My book is mine. The film is something else separately. And so she's sitting there going, well, perhaps I should have been involved in this. And I wonder how many authors feel like they should have been involved in the filmmaking process and had more creative control. So what ends up on the screen remains true to the original source material that they created. I mean, we all know about Stephen King, the fact he hates all his film adaptations and all that. And I get why changes are made to film, but at the same time, you are taking someone's creation and making it different. And that's got to hurt, particularly when key parts, like in here, where it is the Nigerian culture that is so key to Rusted Robots, and it's obviously very much part of Zilu's culture herself, and it's part of her heart, and that's removed. And it's like, hold on, that was a key part of my story, and they've taken that from it. It must be so hard for an author to sit there and go, I'm going to let it go. And for Zilu, she's like, film's nothing to do with me. I hate it. I don't care if you don't like that, I don't like it. But you know what? It was nothing to do with me. And it's not my book. But then she has all this fear about, well, how are people now seeing my book? Because obviously sales of her book rocket after the movie coming out. And she's like, well, how do people cope with the fact that they're completely different characters, different backgrounds? Doesn't seem to affect the sales whatsoever. And she comes across all the fan fiction, and like 99% of the fan fiction is movie-based fan fiction rather than book-based fan fiction, which obviously does hurt her. But then she's like, do you know what? It's made me a ton of money. It's meant I could buy her, you know, her exosuit. It meant she could go and buy her own apartment. It gave her that independence. And she's like, if it means she has to sacrifice a bit of her soul, as it were, she doesn't care, because it's given her that ability to live her life. That went on a bit, sorry. There's just so much in this. It is such an amazing book. Zilu's not perfect by any stretch, but she's a human being. And it's fascinating to read her highs, her lows, her struggles, her successes, her figuring out who she is and who she wants to be, and figuring out her relationships around her, figuring out, I'm not that person that I've been put in a box for so long, that I am me and I'm going to be me. She's amazing to read about. And then the Rusted Robots clips that we get in here. Oh, clearly it's not the whole story that we're given within this. There's not enough room. But there's enough in there for you to feel for these main characters in a completely fictional piece of work. And it's like, this would make such a good book, full stop. I was like, I want this book. I really do. I want to read Rusted Robots in all its big glorious form and have the sequel. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if that will ever happen, but it's amazing to read not only an author's life, but also their work side by side, and the fact that you can see how the author's life is interwoven with their story that they have written. I think this is the first time where it's very, very clear how an author influences their own work, and also really demonstrates why we cannot separate the art from the artist, because Zilu creates this work, Rusted Robots, this amazing story that comes out of her mind from everything she has experienced and seen and been exposed to and heard, and it all comes into that story. That story is very much a part of her life, even for its all sci-fi-ness. It's still very much part of Zilu's life. And I suppose it's why it hurts even more that the film just completely misses it. But it just highlights how fiction writers are intertwined with their work so, so richly, and why we can't separate the two. I love this. I'm just going to keep telling you, I love this book, and I want more people to read it. It's amazing. It just really is amazing. From all the Nigerian culture, the family dynamics that go on, the relationships that she has being Nigerian American, but her parents are obviously Nigerian, and that influence that goes on in her life. So there's all that you learn about as well, what it is like to be African American, but also trying to be Nigerian at the same time, and trying to be true to who you are and finding your place in this mixed up world that you're in. There's just so much going on in here, and it's just so beautifully put down. There's so much, but it's none of it's like just a passing comment. It's just woven throughout the entire story. It's beautiful. Please go and read Death of the Author. I'm begging you, please go and read this. If you have, please leave your thoughts down below, but do hide spoilers, because obviously some people won't have read all of it, and some people won't stay for the spoilers either. I have loads more thoughts on this, but as you can tell, as usual, my reviews are completely rambling. They're completely off the top of my head. So there'll be stuff I've forgotten. There's stuff I'm sitting here thinking, did I want to say that? But yeah, I love this book so much. Please go and read it. As always, thank you very much for watching my inane drivel. Take care and happy reading. Bye.